respectful, and we are a global and inclusive community, so let's keep it kind and constructive. What's in the agenda for us today? So before perhaps starting, I would like to know from the participants we have in the room today who has not participated in the previous webinar that we have organized within the PCP WISE Webstivals. So there were two webinars organized already. The first one was an overall general presentation of PCP WISE and the PCP process. The second webinar was about the legal aspects of PCPs and other innovation procurement approaches. So just by perhaps clicking the hand button to raise your hand in the chat, if you could just let me know who is new in the room today, that would be really helpful for us, just to get an understanding of that. Okay. All right, so I see 7 hands raised. Thank you very much. So it means that the others have been diligent in following our work. Thank you very much, and a welcome to the new participants today. Thank you very much for taking the time to show your hand. So we are going to start by an overview of the PCP WISE project, which I'm going to deliver. After that, there will be 6 projects presented that are funded by European programs or initiatives, including the Research Executive Agencies, the Climate Infrastructure and Environment Executive Agency, and EU SPA. Although they are all overseen by different agencies and programs, they are all connected in a way as they focus on similar subject areas. So that's why we have selected them, and they are connected to the thematics of PCP WISE. So after these nice presentations and very insightful ones, we will have some times for questions to speakers. As I said, all the questions you will put in the chat will be monitored, and we will get back to you on these. And after that, we will follow with an open discussion on cross-project synergies for about 15 to 10 to 20 minutes, and then we will close the webinar on that, on those final remarks. So without further wait, and that being said, I'm excited to open the floor with a presentation on PCP WISE projects. PCP WISE is a truly collaborative effort and a transformative initiative that sits really at the intersection of innovation procurement, climate resilience, and water management across Europe. So through this presentation, I really aim to guide you through how pre-commercial procurement, PCP, you will hear this acronym a lot during my presentation, how the PCP approach creates new opportunities for innovators like you, and how this ties into today's lineup of inspiring projects. So, PCP WISE. PCP WISE is an Horizon Europe funded project. It has been designed to co-develop pre-commercial solutions that harness space and Earth observation data to tackle urgent water and climate-related challenges. We have a 19 million budget and a consortium brings together 26 partners, which are composed of 12 public buyers. Led by HWH, who is here today, represented by Just and by Arnaud in the room, and 14 supporting organizations across Europe. Who are all together committed to investing in a scalable digital solution that enhance the resilience to different climate crises, including floods, droughts, and other climate-induced water risks. So our work, builds on the ground work laid already by the Protect CSA project, and which was already fully aligned with the Green Deal and digital ambitions of the EU. But if you haven't checked yet the Protect project work, please do so, I have included in the presentation, I believe, the link to the Protect CSA project, so you can already check out what we did in Protect, as it is really important work that laid the foundation for the work we do now on PCP WISE. So what is pre-commercial procurement? Some of you may already know, some others, and I believe the majority maybe doesn't know. So according to the European Commission definition, PCP, pre-commercial procurement, challenges the industry from the demand side to develop innovative solutions for the public sector needs and provides a first customer reference that enables companies to create competitive advantage on the market. PCP enables public procurers or public buyers to compare alternative potential solution approaches and filter out the best possible solutions that the market can deliver to address the needs of the public buyers. So that's the definition that the Commission provides for PCP. Now, how pre-commercial procurement works and why are we doing PCPs? We are doing PCPs, we're using the PCP approach because we have identified that the solution that public buyers need do not exist yet on the market. And we have come to the conclusion of that during the Protect project. As I said, it was a previous groundwork that we did. And the goal was to determine a need for which there is no solution existing on the market yet. So that was the work that we did. PCP, what does it do? It enables public buyers to share the risks and the benefits with suppliers as they co-develop solution in a competitive research and development stages around 3 phases that you can see on the slides that eventually help you to reach to technology readiness level 8. So for innovators, for market suppliers, it means that you get access to fully funded piloting opportunities through a PCP, but also real-world testing environments and direct collaboration with future buyers to ensure that the solution you will develop really fit the needs, are tailored to the needs of this buyers group. And therefore, there's a strong demand for the solution that you are developing. So it's also a unique opportunity to co-create solutions tailored to the needs, to test and validate in real-world conditions, to get funding to develop your prototypes, and to move them towards TRL 8, and to stand out ultimately in a competitive market. So all in all, the PCP approach not only accelerates the development of tailor-made solution, but also provides suppliers with a clear pathway to market, ensuring that the solutions developed are both effective and commercially viable. But what are we talking about and what are we focusing on in PCP WISE? PCP WISE focus on the soil-water vegetation nexus, the interplay between natural system increasingly stressed by climate impact. With PCP WISE, we aim to improve decision-making tools and early warning systems that public authorities, that the PCP WISE public buyers group can rely on when responding to water-related crises. So our group of 12 public buyers currently face complex water-related crises such as floods, droughts, wildfires, subsidence, data silos, and gaps in predictive capability. And based on these, the PCP WISE buyers have defined 5 use cases, each focusing on specific issues and a geographical area in Europe. You can see the use cases on the slide. There are 5 of them. The first one is about urban droughts in the region of Northwest Europe. It deals with water distribution problems in city undergrounds due to various human and external factors. This use case aims to mitigate water shortages, impacting infrastructure and living conditions. The second use case addresses urban water excess in Eastern and Northern Europe, where the abundance of water affects city infrastructure. This use case focuses rather on managing water storage and infiltration issues exacerbated by regional factors like sea level rise or river level rise. Sorry. Use cases 3. The third one tackles rural drought in northeastern Europe, where extreme climate variations impact agriculture and nature, leading to issues like wildfires and production losses. The fourth use case deals with rural droughts and flooding in southern Europe now, where structural drought periods and intense rainfall affect agricultural processes and cause significant production challenges. Finally, the last use case focuses on rural drought and flooding as well, again, but in a different region. Now we are looking at the northeastern Europe part, and it addresses problems caused by extreme groundwater conditions that impact land use and infrastructure. This use case aims to manage soil moisture conditions to prevent issues like organic oxidation and underground pit fires. So with these use cases, PCP WISE seeks to address um, all these issues through uninterruptible data-driven solutions rooted in real operational needs. On the slides, on the right side of the slides, you can also see with the red stars the lead buyers for each use cases. And with the green star, you can see where are the partners participating in each use cases. So moving on now to the type of solution that PCP WISE is looking for. Since we have identified 5 use cases, we define the scope of the PCP to be revolving around solutions which enables urban and rural flood forecasting on the one hand, wildfire detection and risk monitoring, critical infrastructure stress monitoring, multi-hazard early warning systems, and long-term planning tools for soil and water. Each is co-designed by public authorities together in collaboration, ensuring that the solutions, as I said earlier when I explained what the PCP process is tailored, scalable, and replicable across other regions as well. So now, well, important to mention also that if you haven't had a chance to participate in the very first webinar of our series, you can still watch it because you will get more information on the PCP WISE use cases, which are detailed in this webinar by our expert and our lead buyer. And you can also have more insights into the expected functional and information requirements of the desired solution. So who should apply? Who are we targeting with the PCP WISE project? And the call for tender that will be the instrument for PCP WISE to select the companies that we would like to work with. So given the multidisciplinary skills and expertise of the solutions that are going to be developed, PCP WISE targets, we strongly believe that not just one supplier or one company can actually provide all these multidisciplinary skills and expertise. Therefore, we strongly believe that several consortia of suppliers working together and gathering all this expertise and skills should bid for the call for tenders and not just one single company. But of course, a single company who should feel that they are able to provide all this expertise is, of course, eligible to bid on its own. So as such, the main contractor that we see in this consortia should be probably a large SME working in civil engineering and management, partnering with hydrology modelers, meteorologists, climate scenario modeling experts, climate service providers, climate tech innovators, experts in crisis impacts and risks, remote sensing companies, as well as companies providing information and technology skills in operational information production, in back and front processing. But we also need partners which are knowledgeable and have legal and contracting skills covering European standards, AI standards, IPRs, and lastly, research and innovation skills in the previously mentioned disciplines, whether it is water management, climate resilience, climate adaptation, and soil water vegetation systems. I think I'm reaching almost the end of my presentation, and the last message I would like to convey to you is that we are now entering probably the most dynamic phase of the PCP WISE project, the most important one, because it is now the time to get an opportunity for you to get involved. The timeline that you see on the slide is designed to give you the tools, the time, and the touch points to align your solution with real public needs and to prepare for the upcoming call for tenders that will be launched in September this year. But first, where are we standing already now? As you can see, the very first touch point is the publication of the open market consultation prior information notice that is already published. On the QR code that you see at the bottom of the slide on the left side, there is a link to the e-procurement portal of the PCP WISE lead buyer who has published the OMC PIN. And if you scan this QR code, you can access on the one hand, the open market consultation document, which is detailing the challenge, the use cases, the functional and information requirements expected for the solutions to be developed, and which is described by the group of public buyers. Through this QR code, you also access the request for information to suppliers that we invite all suppliers to fill out in order for us to get a better understanding about who you are and what you are doing. The next events, well, we are continuing our Webstival. So today is the webinar 3, but we have 3 more webinars coming up. The next one is going to be on April 22. It will focus on the private sector perspective on PCPs. How can we bring in private investors, private funding in order to continue the work beyond the PCP, whether it is through a PPI or another form of procurement. The 5th webinar will be oriented on the climate dimension and will explore the Earth observation and space contribution to climate adaptation solution. It will be led by the Climate Geek. And the final closing webinar will take place on April 28th. We will wrap up. We will provide some thoughts and reflections on what we've heard throughout this series of 6 webinars. So these are indicated in the green boxes. In the orange boxes, so the OMC PIN and the rest of the upcoming events are the events that are linked to the preparation of the call for tenders. So these are important ones for suppliers not to miss out. There will be an info day on May 29. It's going to be online. During this info day, we will deep dive into the tender documents, the legal details, the PCP process, and the Q&A for potential bidders. After that, we will have 2 open market consultations. The first one is going to be online on 3rd of June. It's going to be a first interaction between the public buyers of PCP WISE and the suppliers who will be invited to ask questions. There will be a second OMC following on 12th of June. This one is going to be hybrid as it will be organized during the Expandio event organized by ERSC, the European Association for Remote Sensing Companies. And it's going to be in person, but an hybrid connection will be provided. And so this will be also another opportunity to meet the PCP WISE buyers and to let you know about our expertise in the different fields that we are looking for in PCP WISE. And last but not least, of course, the call for tenders which will be launched in September and will remain open for 6 months. It will give innovators the time to form consortia and to prepare strong proposals. So I will conclude by saying that PCP WISE offer more than just a funding opportunity. Also because through our community and matchmaking platform, you have the QR code on the bottom of the slide to the right side this time, we are calling on any stakeholders interested to join us. We, if you join the community platform, you will see that we categorize our stakeholders into 3 categories. The suppliers, of course, which are able to form a partnership and network with other suppliers on the platform, but also external buyers to the consortium who can become possible future replicators of the solution and who may already want to connect with us and with market-ready ideas. The last category are the followers, and they include basically any project initiatives, network interested in staying informed and to collaborate with us and to support our work. So PCP WISE is really, and the community platform is really the place to share expertise, find synergies, shape better your tender proposal. And participating in PCP WISE is not just about procurement, it's a chance to validate and scale the solutions that you are maybe already developing in your company, in your work, in other projects. It's an opportunity to access funding for piloting and to form long-lasting partnerships with public sector clients. This is a window of opportunity also to influence the scope of innovation right now before the call is launched. So if you want to get visibility, if you want to build partnerships, if you want to engage with committed buyers, join us. So I reached the end of my presentation. I'm going to go back to the Teams window, which I have abandoned for a bit to look if there are already some questions
there are
in the
indeed
chat.
some questions, Melissa, and colleagues have been kindly answering them for us. But yeah, it's worth you should just run through them.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much to my colleagues and the PCP WISE teams. We are a great team. Thanks a lot. All right, so now we are going to move with the project presentations. And the first project that we would like to present to you is the MIRACA project, Multi-Hazard Infrastructure Risk Assessment for Climate Adaptation. So I would like to call on Elko Cox from the University of Amsterdam to present the MIRACA project. Elko, I will share the slides for you, so just let me know when I should hit the next button.
Yeah, I'm also happy to do it myself. Maybe that's easier.
If you wish, I can also stop sharing and you can go on, of course.
Yeah, does this work? Can you see it now? Perfect.
Yes,
all right, that's a bit easier than keep on asking you to flick to the next one. Anyways,
no worries.
Well, thanks again for the opportunity to present our project, our Horizon project called MIRACA. My name is Elko Cox and I'm an associate professor at the Vrije Universiteit in Amsterdam, but I've realized that within the PCP WISE there are quite a few Dutch partners involved as well. Yeah, so what is pretty much the goal and objective of the MIRACA project? So what we realized before we started the project, there's still quite a lot of unknowns when it comes to climate adaptation for infrastructure systems in particular, how to make them more climate resilient. There's quite some academic theoretical work often being done, but really pushing that forward to some more real world applicability across how infrastructure systems working was really not there yet. So we are particularly aiming to develop a better understanding of the vulnerability of critical infrastructure, and in particular energy, transport and telecommunication. We are explicitly not considering water supply systems because they are very complex on their own. So we have picked a few systems that we have a lot of experience with already. To natural hazards and extreme weather. And as I will show also in a minute, we're developing methods and tools for really helping them to enhance the resilience of their system, and not the system by itself, but also really taking into consideration the interconnectedness or the interactions between other systems. So the dependencies, for example, between transport and energy, or energy and telecommunication, and trying to find new ways on how to develop resilience strategies for those type of interactions and systems. So what are in the end 3 key outputs? Maybe good to emphasize, I did not do that at the start, but we are a 2.5 million project running until the end of 2027. So we're quite a small project, and we're particularly focusing on core tool and method development, and everything will be in the end be delivered in the public space, and all the tools will be able to be reused by everyone. So 3 key outputs, a guidance on technical and economic appraisal of adaptation. I know there's quite a bit already available on adaptation, but we are particularly focused on this multi-level characteristics of infrastructure systems and their dependencies. So really help to try to identify if we want to make a system more climate resilient, should we either go for adaptation options that are more asset level oriented, or should we consider more something on network redundancy, for example, network resilience, or should we think about using the system differently? So when we think about multimodal transport, should we start shifting from road to rail, or from inland waterways to road? So really thinking in a much more broader sense to how one could adapt, rather than sticking just, I mean, that's already a big process on its own, but only focusing on this asset level adaptation. Then this technical workbench, where we have 5 use cases that I will show in a minute, where we're developing really all these methods for different unique combinations of hazards and infrastructure systems. And all of those tools will be publicly available through a Jupyter book. So we will develop a very comprehensive Python toolkit where you can directly rerun the code for the use cases, and hopefully be able to relatively simply fill in your own use case with the required data and rerun the analysis. And in the end, we'll have, as a third and fourth output, the last output came last year as an additional one, an online viewer to showcase risk hotspots within Europe and provide a scrollytelling approach. I mean, everyone I think knows those scrollytelling things, where we also take an end user with us, how you can indeed perform such a climate adaptation assessment on those different levels themselves. And on this interactive viewer, this is still a mock, but as you see, we're really focusing also on object level assessments, because in particular with infrastructure, really understanding what happens on an object and a line or a point level is really important to understand the criticalities and vulnerabilities of the system. So building, all the tools are building up from an object level approach, and I think there could be some opportunities also to collaborate on further enhancing those type of approaches. I think I've mentioned this already, so we really understand that there's much knowledge to be gained on enabling climate adaptation for critical infrastructure, and in particular also in this multi-hazard context, right? I mean, the word maladaptation I think is not unknown, but you could, a very clear example is always, you can raise a house on stilts, or raise the embankment of a railway line, so it's protected by flooding, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's then also protected by earthquakes, because if you use the wrong material for raising the embankments, actually the embankment can crack during an earthquake. So really thinking from a multi-hazard perspective, what would be the best adaptation approach one could take. So how does that then look in practice? So this is pretty much just the flow of all the modeling that's happening and tailoring towards those end user solutions. So of course, every climate risk assessment or climate vulnerability assessment starts with hazard information. We're not doing any hazard modeling ourselves, so there could be some opportunities to collaborate also with some PCP WISE IDs, because in particular, for example, flood event modeling is still really in its infancy, still in Europe on a large scale. Anyway, start with single and multi-hazard data. That feeds into your classic asset level exposure, vulnerability, and risk assessment. So that's often where many of the studies stop. But then we feed that forward into our network failure and service disruption part. So the University of Oxford is heavily developing those tools to apply them pan-European. So if a certain bridge will fail or a certain critical intersection, what are then those ripple effects across the network? Are there possibilities of rerouting some of the goods, or will we see disruptions on a couple of days? Like, how will the system behave? And in the end, that feeds into regional economic losses. And on all those different levels, we can think about adaptation appraisal. So which do we want to apply our climate adaptation on asset level, system level, network level? And if we set them all next to each other, can we identify what the best cost-effective investment decision will be? So the 5 use cases we're applying these methods, as I said, different hazard combinations and infrastructure combinations. So the main pan-European one is the TEN-T corridors in collaboration also with DigiMove, where we will look at droughts, floods, and storms. We consider the TEN-T as a multimodal transport system with road, rail, and inland waterways, and include also the ports and a bit the airports. In Spain, we'll focus on accessibility of rural communities through wildfires triggered by droughts and heat waves. So there we really focus on this compounding multi-hazard characteristics of wildfires. How can we model wildfires also towards the future? And what is then the impact on accessibility of small communities, which, for example, rely strongly on tourism? So the focus will actually be more on Catalonia, not necessarily the Spain as a whole. This has been developed a bit more strongly over the past couple of weeks. In the Netherlands, we'll focus on the interaction between telecommunication and electricity provision, mostly now focused in the province of Zuid-Holland, where we focus mainly on impacts on floods and heat waves and a little bit of storms, but it seems floods and heat waves are most important to them. In Greece, we actually focus on accessibility of schools and hospitals and really develop this multi-hazard interaction between earthquakes, floods, and landslides triggered by those earthquakes and floods. And how can we develop models to really understand those interaction of those events on the impact of those infrastructure systems? And in Slovenia, I think many of you are aware that Slovenia was severely hit also by flooding 2 years ago, or maybe already 3 years ago. And there we are doing a very sophisticated modeling of the whole power grid and think on how that one is being impacted by floods and landslides. So those are pretty much the focus points, but on an asset level, we'll still provide also pan-European risk assessments as well. So who is involved here? So it's us, University of Oxford, the Aristotle University of Thessaloniki, who's doing a lot of the earthquake and multi-hazard modeling. The University of Ljubljana is very strong in power system modeling. And then we have Deltares as the private research institute who's supporting us a lot in the climate adaptation. And we have 2 SMEs involved in the whole visualization and tool development, Visuality and Lobedia. And then to end with a few lessons learned already on developing all those tools and methods. So what's really important also from an infrastructure provider perspective. So in the Netherlands, I'm also involved with next generation infrastructure and NG Infra. And also there are a lot of conversations I had with infrastructure providers is that they are acknowledging the system level approach, but also acknowledge the complexities, but still they really ask you to push forward and go away a little bit from this asset level modeling and really think about a corridor system-wide approach. Another essential point is that if you develop climate adaptation, in particular for infrastructure, because that's what I'm talking about now, infrastructure providers are already dealt with lots of key transformations, decarbonization, digitalisation. They are dealing with a lack of personnel, lack of material. They're dealing with many of those issues, and then you suggest them to think about climate adaptation as well, which is an investment that may not play out over the lifetime of an asset, but if you do it and something happens, you're better off. So it's sometimes a complex decision to make. So really make sure you embed it in the transitions they're already dealing with, or at least acknowledge the other transitions. And what we also see is that on a technical side, we can do a lot together with TU Delft and Oxford, and we have all the many technical skills available to do very sophisticated modeling. But often it's not the technical modeling and trying to find the exact number of the benefit that's the hurdle, but really how can you embed climate adaptation within an organizational structure or is there a governance structure available to think about climate adaptation across infrastructure operators? And often there's no such thing in place to properly discuss whether maybe some benefits lie with the other partner. How can you then tackle the cost? So that's pretty much in a nutshell what I presented here. And I'm happy to chat if there's something here that triggered your interest. And I hope I sort of remained in the time, I think exact 10 minutes. So
Yes, you did
thanks.
indeed, Elko. Thank you.
And I'll
Thank
stop
you so
sharing
much
now.
for this very dynamic presentation. Yes, of course, if participants have questions for Elko, please put them in the chat. He can already start answering them if he wants. Otherwise, as I said, at the end of the presentations, we will have a Q&A moment. So next up, and I'm going to start sharing my slides again, is the Transformar project. And I'm inviting Marcos Alvarez from the Norwegian University of Science in Norway to present. Marco, if you are with us, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So can I take the control to
You can as well.
Okay.
Yes, of course, of course.
Okay.
I'll stop sharing then.
Yeah, but now I don't see the presentation.
Do you need me to share it and pass the slides for you, or do you want to share yourself?
I think that
okay.
will work better. Yeah.
Okay, sorry, I had understood that you wanted to share your screen. Okay, yeah. Just let me know when I should go next.
Yeah, very well. So good morning, everyone. I am Marcos Alvarez. I am a senior researcher and EU project developer at NTNU, the Norwegian University of Science and Technology, more specifically at a unit called Color Lab, belonging to the Department of Computer Science, where we develop research on color imaging, hyperspectral imaging, in many fields, also including remote sensing. Next slide. So I'm introducing today, Melissa, I don't see the next slide.
I just hit next, so you should see the next slide should be Transformar at a glance. Can you see it?
Yeah, very well. Thank you.
Okay, it may be that there's a small delay.
Yeah, okay. So as I was saying, I'm introducing today Transformar project. Transformar is a Horizon 2020 initiative focused on accelerating and upscaling transformational adaptation across Europe in response to climate change. The mission of this project is to empower European communities, which means cities and regions, through innovative pathways and actionable solutions that enable rapid adaptation to climate-related challenges that we will see later. We are specifically demonstrating water-related innovation packages, tackling issues like flooding, droughts, stormwater, and coastal resilience. This is a large project funded under the H2020 Green Deal call on climate resilient innovation packages. We are 4 projects funded under this call. You will listen later to RCNO, which is a sister project. So we are part of this team of 4 projects under this call, which are Resilience, Impetus, RCNO, and Transformar. Next slide, please. So this project is pretty large, as you've seen in the previous slide. We are 22 partners, and we are developing this project in 6 demonstrator regions and cities, which are Lappeenranta in Finland, Egaleo in Greece, Oristano in Sardinia in Italy, Galicia in northwestern Spain, the West Country region in the UK, and the Caribbean territory of Guadeloupe. And there's one replicator, which is Gjøvik in Norway, which is the place where I'm based. We are facing different water-related climate change risks, such as flooding, drought, heat waves, extreme events, and sea rising. And this affects a number of sectors such as health, agriculture, fisheries, aquaculture, urban planning, tourism, etc. So you can see in this grid that we are not covering all the risks and sectors in each demonstrator, but they are specialized in certain challenges. Next slide, please. So as I said earlier, this is a very large project. We have 22. 22 or 21, 22. So initially we had 21. I will explain later why I'm referring to 22 different solutions. So these solutions are linked to the transformational adaptation blocks, so that define a methodology to implement these solutions and to follow all the steps in order to successfully implement these solutions. These solutions are grouped into 5 clusters. So we have solutions on behavioral change and awareness raising, governance schemes, nature-based solutions, technological and digital solutions, and financial, economic, and insurance schemes. You can see that the final TRL for all of these solutions are pretty high. Some of the solutions are ready to be adopted, are available already in our website. I forgot to mention that the project is a 4-year project, and this is the final year. So we are in the final phase with the final results. The project will end by September 2025. Next slide, please. I will focus mostly on the digital and technical solutions. This is where I'm mostly working in this project, but feel free, of course, to have a look at our website. I will post the link in the chat when I finish my presentation, because there are other solutions not clustered as digital and technological solutions where, for example, remote sensing is very relevant for utilizing certain data, for example, for economic assessment, impact assessment, etc. But I will focus very briefly on some digital and technological solutions. You can see that, for instance, in the Nordics, we have focused very much on stormwater management. So this is an increasing problem in the city of Lappeenranta, and as well in Gjøvik in Norway, where these solutions have been replicated. So we have developed IoT solutions, where we are now working also on in-situ monitoring for example, through image analysis using already available webcams to monitor local rainfall that can help us to improve the data quality for stormwater management. In Greece, for instance, heat waves are a problem. So the urban heat, the heat island effect is relevant there. So our colleagues at Demokritos and Egaleo municipality have installed a network of smart climate stations on public buildings. In the northwest of Spain, in Galicia, aquaculture and fisheries are a very important economic sector. So there's a master raft monitoring tool and intertidal monitoring to see how the tidal dynamics are being affected by climate change. And there's also in the UK, in the West Country region, this solution is mostly a natural-based solution, but there's also some IoT development to monitor the water quality in the constructed wetlands. Next slide, please. So I will, you have some more development of some of these solutions here if you want to go into further detail, but I recommend you to go to our website and also to Cordis, where many deliverables are already published, where you will find more details, because this is just an example. So, for instance, the mussel raft management in Galicia, but we have also, next slide, please. We have also the smart climate station. So here in Greece, the installation of these climate stations was very successful because it was a success story of co-creation with the population of Egaleo. So the guys there did a great job going to the local schools and having the students involved in the development of these low-cost environmental stations, and then including the development of a citizen app where people can see these measurements. This is also an approach followed in La Peranta with their own citizen app. So again, I recommend you to go to our website or ask me later if you want to have more details. And finally, I wanted to refer in the next slide to what initially wasn't planned as a solution. So this would be like the 22nd one. This was initially specified as a step towards the development of other solutions. This is part of this transformational adaptation blocks, which is risk assessment. So we need to have a baseline or some data to compare what's going on with the forecasted effects of climate change. So this is a tool developed by the Potsdam Institute of Climate Impact Research. So it's available on our website. You can see, for instance, for a certain region, what's going to happen in relation to droughts or to floodings, what's forecasted in the coming years in relation to the modeling the guys did. So this data is very relevant for the rest of solutions to have a baseline for comparing the effects and so on. Next slide, please. So, well, as I said earlier, we are 22 partners from 11 different countries, involving academia, public authorities, research centers, but also innovative SMEs and startups. So, for instance, we can mention Fairheart, an SME focused on the development of Earth observation solutions. Acterra, they work on adaptation tools. We have a spin-off from a Greek university called E3 Modeling. They work on empirical modeling of the nexus economy, energy, environment, and Euro Quality. They help us very much on the innovation management. I wanted to show here also this idea of the demo duos for each of the 6 demo sites plus the replicator site. we have like a site owner, let's say. In many cases, it's a municipality. So, for example, we have a MOE is Municipality of Egaleo, Lab is the Municipality of La Peranta. In other cases, it's a research center. But on the other hand, we have technical support, which is a university or a research center. Next slide. So just to recap a little bit, I wanted to talk a little bit about the lessons learned and insight. So we did, co-creation is at the core of this project. So we put a lot of effort on this aspect, and this has been fruitful. So we have had a strong stakeholder engagement. So we have very interesting success cases, such as engagement with the master aquaculture sector in Galicia, stormwater stakeholders in the Nordics. Awareness raising was another relevant aspect. So I mentioned my colleagues in Egaleo in Greece with the schools. So this has been very important in order to have solutions that are adopted by the population. Of course, there are always barriers. So the fragmentation of data, this is something you already know, I'm sure. The scalability, so we have tried this in a specific region. So now we would like to scale this to maybe a larger scope, to the European scale. So we need help in order to do this. And what else? About collaboration needs, we are starting to contact now, for instance, venture capitalists, insurance companies, in order to help to get help with the economics, with the potential bankability of the solution. So this is something we would need or we would like to explore in the short term. Next slide, and I'm almost there. So looking ahead, we seek to collaborate with climate tech startups and SMEs that could, for instance, develop forecasting solutions or products based on what we have done so far, but also with public agencies, municipalities, utilities, because many of the solutions could be adopted straightforwardly at the municipal scale. I'm thinking about the stormwater management solutions. So we would like to showcase these solutions and disseminate. So
Marcos, if I may, sorry to interrupt you. This slide is super interesting, but I would very much like to keep it for the open discussion, because this is something that I think we can all benefit from and exchange on your thoughts. So perhaps we can come back to the slides for the open discussion.
Yeah, I think it's very interesting later. Yeah, so maybe we keep it for later. And well, this was in fact my final slide. So I'm running out of time, so I would like to thank you very much for the invitation. This initiative, PCP WISE, is very relevant. I'm very new to this world of PCPs, but I think that for a project like ours is the next step. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Marcos. Thank you. Okay, so next up we have Renske from Forum Virium in Silky. She's going to present us the Space for Cities project. Please, Renske.
Hi, good morning. Yeah, thanks, Melissa, for having me and introducing me. Hi, everyone. Indeed, on to Space for Cities. And Space for Cities is also a pre-commercial procurement. You could maybe move the slides. There's a bit of lag, I think, because I don't see a change, but here it comes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, Space for Cities. So also a PCP. Actually, Forum Virium is involved in both in PCP WISE as well as in Space for Cities. Space for Cities, we are also the project coordinator, which of course is not the case for PCP WISE. Space for Cities is about it's a very city-focused pre-commercial procurement. About the integration of satellite data, specifically European satellite data, Galileo and Copernicus applications, data and applications to support cities in their work of doing city management. And this can be urban planning related or traffic related. And I will come to a bit to the challenges and the themes later on, but it's quite a wide topic. If you move to the next slide, I can tell a little bit about the mission in short. So at least at its core, the mission is to conduct this pre-commercial procurement process, which in all PCPs has the goal to build replicable solutions. And in this case, it's about more dynamic and better management of public areas. Public areas can be green areas, can be, of course, roads, parks, parking lots. It also covers transport infrastructure. So a lot of the sort of the tasks that a city has in terms of managing the public space, how can satellite data help with that or make it more efficient, work it better under the overall umbrella of becoming more resilient and functional with that kind of new type of data set. You can move to the next slide, because of course the cities collect already a lot of data. They use lots of different data sets, but satellite data is very new to them. About the project in short, it's quite a long one, 3.5 years. We are now a bit more than 1 year in. And as Melissa also introduced in the introduction, it follows very tightly the steps in a pre-commercial procurement. They are the same in every PCP around Europe, starting with an open market consultation. I wrote it wrong here. The open market consultation is not yet phase 1, it's kind of phase 0. The first phase is then solution design and prototyping, where we will select 20 suppliers, and then we move on to the prototyping phase is the phase 2 with 10 suppliers. Oh, this is confusing. Sorry, guys, this is a bit messy. And the last phase is the phase 3, which is the field testing, in which the 5 winning suppliers will reach TRL 7 to 8 levels in this project. So it's kind of we just closed our open call, our call for tenders. I will get back to that a little bit later, but it's a closed process. From then onwards, we select the 20, and then we will reduce that number to 5 winning solutions in the end, which then should be exploited commercially and scaled, such as the same as in PCP WISE. It's close to 3 million euros that we have for suppliers, SMEs, universities, also larger companies, very wide. Who's involved on our consortium side? So we have a buyers group, a bit smaller than the PCP WISE group. We have Forum Virium Helsinki, we're city-owned, so we're the innovation company of the city of Helsinki. We're the lead procurer. We have City of Amsterdam, the region of Attica, so where Athens is based, Ghent, Guimarães in Portugal, and then our expert partner Aerospace Valley from France, and the Open Agile Smart Cities Network, OASC, is also in fact a buyers group member. So that's a small yet efficient consortium, I would say. And the 5 cities will also have pilots of these phase 3 solutions later on in the project, in the last year, and also smaller pilots in 10 replicator cities. So I don't know if we have cities on the line here as well. But if this is of your interest, then we are still looking for replicators. So 1 bigger and 2 smaller pilots coming up in the last year for the suppliers. Yes, thank you. There's 3 challenges that this project covers, and they're very wide. I kind of grayed out the mobility one because it's maybe for this particular webinar less relevant. It's also, we have noticed now that the offers have been coming in the least, let's say, offered solution, the sustainable mobility ones. Climate resilience, clearly we've received most offers on this topic. Quite broad. I mean, it goes from this environmental risk modeling and all kinds of prediction tools in relation to air quality and emissions and heat islands and flooding. And so there can definitely also be water-related solutions. But we received 140 and the evaluation process is still ongoing. So I can't say too much about it. From what I've seen so far, I mean, the offer is very, very wide. So we're very happy with that. We got a lot to choose from. And I mentioned 140 offers. So we closed the call for tenders last week, and now we're doing a pre-evaluation because we cannot evaluate fully 140. It's some amazing amount, at least double of what we expected. You can see here the countries where they came from. And if you go to the next slide, you will see that most of the suppliers that bid, that sent the tender, were small, you know, SMEs, let's say, under 250 people, the more or less, yeah, the large majority. So if you now go to the next one, there you will see also from the founding years that most of the this is the lead tender organization. The 50% were single tenderers and 50% were consortia of tenderers, mostly with 1 or 2 additional partners. But the lead tender organizations, the large majority is relatively new, like within the last, let's say, 8 years or so, 9 years founded. If you move to the next one, this is the themes that were covered in the tender. So the climate adaptation, quite a lot about heat-related solutions, and some also related to water. But of course, I mean, we will now evaluate these 140 in pre-evaluation and do the big evaluation with 60 tenders, and we will select 20. And I cannot say yet if of those 20, any of the solutions will relate to any form of water management and if they will have a link with PCP WISE in the future. But let's see. We will publish our results in the very end of May, the winning solutions. So we will get back to that then. Yeah, and just lastly, as shortly to say what worked well on our part. Well, the very large number of solutions that was offered to us, I think partly was due to the fact that we had a very active open market consultation. I mean, like PCP WISE is doing now with webinar series involving both suppliers and procurers, being very visible at all kinds of events. And of course, it helped as well that we have quite a broad topic, and it's a relatively large pot of money for SMEs to you know, of course, the 3 million is divided over those 20 companies over various years. But all in all, I think that's also been a good carrot. Yeah, I mentioned the publication already of the winners end of May. And I would see definitely collaboration with other projects, mostly satellite data related projects or kind of urban management, city planning related projects for joint dissemination activities. For example, at conferences, it would be great to try to form, you know, panels together or submit some papers together. And also, I'm hoping that through the collaboration with projects that are in this webinar, we are able to reach more cities, the additional procurers, because of course, I mean, this is a pre-commercial procurement. We hope that the companies that win can scale their solutions and commercialize them. And we need, we're the core of a PCP is also building a market base, let's say, and for that we need additional purchase power. So buyers group like public procurers are definitely wanted, and we will have the call for replicators coming in the next year. Yeah, and I mean, I realize not most of the projects today are not, in fact, PCPs. So this commercialization challenge, because I mean, it is quite difficult to do, is maybe not at the core of the work, but at least collaboration with PCP WISE and other PCPs on this will be very valuable, I think, lesson learned, and also identifying future funding opportunities for the suppliers involved in our respective projects, I think will be very helpful. For example, a public procurement of innovation as a follow-up project, leveraging venture capital or other types of funding. So happy to continue discussions on that at a later stage. This was it very much in a nutshell. Satellite data for cities, space for cities projects, and I'm happy to discuss more individually as well. So thanks for having me. Thanks, Melissa.
Thank you so much, Renske, for being here with us today and sharing your experience. We are very, as you know, inspired by the Space for Cities project and your work. You are more advanced than us, so it's, of course, really helpful for us to follow your work. And thanks also again for your conclusion, for re-emphasizing the essence of what PCP is and also what are the opportunities for the private markets. The companies who may be with us today in this webinar, as well as the potential cities, regions, or any other public authorities who may be replicators in the future, whether it is for Space for Cities or for PCP WISE or any other PCP that you may know. This is really important that we work both with the companies, the markets, but also that we ensure that in the future there is replicability of the solutions.
Exactly.
Yes, Mark, you have a question?
Yes, thanks, Renske, for your presentation. I had a quick question, and you answered it in part with the slide about how many individual SMEs and how many consortia presented themselves. And following up on what Melissa just said, did you do any sort of brokerage or matchmaking to help SMEs join consortia, or was that left to their own devices? Because I think that's an important question we're seeing from the SMEs. You know, you saw the long list of challenge/technologies we think we need. So it's a question, did you facilitate any of the consortium building in the process?
We did this very actively, in fact, and for Coromverum, this is already the 7th PCP that we are doing, and we had learned from previous PCPs as well that this was indeed useful and necessary and wanted from the supplier side, especially maybe ones that where there are a lot of companies that have the potential to participate, where the challenge is quite wide. So we set up a matchmaking platform on our website where companies could input their expertise and the type of expertise that they were lacking or the partnership that they were interested in. And we had I think we had in the end around 120 companies from really all over Europe, even all over the world. And we, of course, what we don't know yet today is how many companies through there found consortium partners. But I'm about actually this afternoon to send out a survey to all our 140 applicants to ask that, did you use this matchmaking platform and what did you think about it? So
well, we'd be interested to know that. We should invest in it as well.
Yes,
if it's
I know
zero,
that Joost and Hans and the colleagues are aware, and I think PCP WISE at least is planning to do something similar. Yeah,
because I mean, Melissa, referred to people on the sort of stakeholder engagement work on our platform. So, anyway, thanks for that feedback.
Thanks a lot. I think we have our next speaker ready already. So let me go back to the slides, and we have Janice Adamos from the Aristotle University of Thessaloniki, who is going to present us the Arsinoe project. Janice, please, the floor is yours.
Thanks a lot, Melissa. Thanks a lot for for the invitation. I'm so happy to be here today with you. So I'm going to present Arsinoi, which is sorry, I tried to. Can I have the control, you think?
Yeah,
Okay.
I just saw that you asked me for the control.
Yes.
Please, if you want me to stop sharing and you want to prefer to share your slide yourself, go ahead.
Okay, I can do that. Yes. Un minuto, please. So Arsinoi, which is one of, we started this Horizon 2020 project. We started in October 2021, and we'll start now presenting, hopefully. Let's see. Okay. Can you see my screen, probably?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
You can go in full screen.
Yes. Is it okay now?
We're not seeing the full screen yet, but just the PowerPoint. If you can click, you know, like the slide, yeah,
Yes.
full screen mode.
I did that, but let's see what is going on. Okay, I'm sorry.
No worries. If you want, I can share the slides for you.
What
Yes,
about
okay, now perfect. Perfect,
okay.
yes.
Thank you. Sorry for this. So, Arsinoi, yes, as I said, you can see the numbers. So, it's a large project in terms of funding, so 15 million euros. You can also see, so I'm sorry, I'm Giannis Adamos, first of all. I didn't introduce myself. I'm an assistant professor at the Aristotle University of Thessaloniki here in Greece. And I also act as the project manager of Arsinoi since 2021, and we're now running the last semester of the project. So I'm happy today that I will manage to show you some, due to time restrictions, of our outcomes, I would say, our achievements. So the numbers are large, as you can see, in terms of funding, in terms of partners. So that was, let's say, one more challenge for all of us, for the coordinator, something that we coordinate this project to deal with. 15 European countries and also a duration of 4 years. 9 case studies, and I will present you now an overview of these case studies, which may be 9, as you can see. However, they are really diverse, first of all, in terms of content and biogeographical regions, but also, let's say, for example, the second one, which is the Mediterranean ports. So here we are talking about 3 ports in Med, and also, for example, the Black Sea case study is also complicated since, let's say, from the beginning, that 4 different countries are involved in this case. Greece coordinating the case study, Bulgaria, Romania, and Turkey. So it may be 9, but in fact we do have some transboundary, as you can see, and transnational, I would say, also case studies addressing in many of these case studies water, let's say, challenges, and however also extreme heat, like in Athens case study. We go to agriculture, like in Sardinia, for example, and a lot of other droughts and other events. So we may have started, let's say, in 2021, having as the main, as everybody in the world challenged, let's say, COVID. However, as we all know, the last years things are not going well in terms of the events that we need to deal with. So this is exactly what we are doing in Arsinoi. We started doing it. We're now finalizing this project. So the main challenge was from the beginning indeed climate change and how we can address this, let's say, complex and phenomenon. We focus in Arsinoi on adaptation, and this is something that we are doing all these years, and how, in fact, how ready regions. This is the initial, let's say, scale of our implementation, and how we can, in fact, offer or, let's say, provide solutions to regions, to communities to adapt to climate change challenges and all these consequences that we need to deal with. So this is the way we started. This is how we started. However, as I mentioned, new terms where we had to deal with new terms, with new phenomena like extreme events. And unfortunately, here in Greece, for example, we had to deal some years ago with floods, and the situation was not good at all. So still, I cannot say, because I was living at that region at that period, things have not, let's say, would not have, the city has not recovered from all these damages and all these impacts. So this is how we started, and I'm going to present some, as I said before, due to time restrictions, outcomes. I will try to focus mainly on those that can be definitely replicable. So here, for example, you can see one of the main achievements of Arsenoi. This is something that maybe some colleagues have already, for example, you, Melissa, have already learned about, because this is something that I need to say that the Commission is very happy with. You know that when we get funding from the Commission, they want to see ready to be implemented solutions, and this is something that we try to do. We try to do from the beginning, and we are still trying. So this is a graph, as you can see, taking into consideration all these, let's say, all these initiatives or all these policies. And in few words, this is what I can say for in this presentation. I mean, in this group here, for example, one of the main outcomes is a tool that we have developed on how, for example, we can assess climate change vulnerabilities at the country level, and you can see a little the scope and the scale of this approach. So this is something that we keep working on. We are now, our colleagues, we are even trying, even if we had not promised such, let's say, an activity, such an approach, we are even adding now artificial intelligence, and this is going to be in by the end of the project in September 2025. In my opinion, but not only in my opinion, I think it's rather promising. We're going to have a tool that would, first of all, we have already, I need to say that, for example, we have already started, let's say, promoting and this work. A lot of partners, a lot of institutions all around Europe do have a high interest on how they can use this tool. So this is something I can say that we are working very hard to proceed with. Here, even the title is complicated. So this is the multi-system dynamic modeling framework of resilience assessment. Once again, a very complicated exercise that we try to do. Let's say the outcome, the main outcome of this work is going to be a resilience wheel, as we call it, considering, as you can see, different levels like stakeholder engagement, data, which is one of the key requirements of what we are doing, risk assessment methodologies, and of course the outcome, the main outcome and the main result. Let's say what we are trying to do is develop, provide, and let's say deliver an innovative decision-making tool that can facilitate how should, let's say, decisions should be taken, should be made in the years coming, and this is definitely a complicated, as we all know well, situation and a framework. With regards to citizen science, this is something also innovative that we try to develop in Arsenoi. So we brought in, let's say, citizens. We wanted to have this engagement with citizens, with communities. And here we were lucky to have an already developed tool, which is Minka, a citizen science tool. And starting from this, let's say, initial, let's say, development or initial edition, we did a lot of work to, first of all, we updated this tool for Greece. And here you can see some of the activities that we try to do and we managed to do all these years. And just to say, for example, this tool, what is doing is collecting, let's say, observations, trying to involve people, trying to engage citizens. And we did that in a very, I would say, exciting result, since we managed to have in less than 2 years more than 10,000 observations coming from students. This is what is very promising, I would say, through participatory, of course, processes. I need also to emphasize the help that we had from specific institutions. This is something that in the beginning seem to be very difficult on how we can find all this pool of people that will engage voluntarily to this exercise. And then we very, let's say, we were happy and happy, yes, because, and like I would say, but we did a lot of work to work with students. And now, in a couple of weeks from now, I will also have an event here in Thessaloniki, in the Aristotle University of Thessaloniki, once again having this kind of engagement. And we are going also to develop a documentary under the auspices of SDSN Europe and Greece. This documentary will provide a lot of information. I believe that it's also going to be uploaded on the Ages of Globalization, an initiative from Professor Sachs that also has a lot of visibility, but also has a lot of, the audience is huge, so we can there, let's say, present all these exciting outcomes. Virtual reality, one more innovative, and this is the first time that such, let's say, an activity is taking place. What we try to do here is to compare, let's say, choice experiment surveys and compare these results with virtual reality experiments. So here our colleagues developed, as you can see, a virtual reality environment. This is a square, for example, in Athens. It's actual, I mean, it's real. This is a real situation. And we try to do through these virtual reality experiments, and the results are amazing. And the interest of people is also is high. And we do hope that, I need to say that our colleagues here, and with all the work that they have done all these years, have received a lot of awards at the European level, and we are very happy to have such results. In very few words, because I will present some findings from a couple of case studies, since this is also something that we are focusing today on. So here you can see, for example, the Denmark case study. We focus here on climate extremes like flooding, droughts, etc. The results, the outcomes that can be replicable is, as you can see, we managed to develop an artificial intelligence-based extreme sea level statistics for the specific region. However, this also can be further, let's say, developed and updated and considering the needs of other regions. And here in Torbay also, in UK, as you can see, we focus a lot on cascading effects, which is also an issue, let's say, that resulted from all this work that we have done all these years, that we may focus, for example, on flooding. However, due to all these issues that we have on infrastructure and thus critical infrastructure, we need to consider and take into account definitely cascading effects. Innovations, and this is something that we are also very happy, and in Arsinoi, here you can see some numbers, you can see all the innovations that we have developed in Arsinoi, and also the TRL level, let's say, the improvement that we have. You can see commercial exploitation, let's say, opportunities, but also scientific exploitation opportunities. And I need to say, as you can see, so here we, from the 15 million euros that we had in Arsinoi, 1 million was given to these people, to new innovators, to new, I mean, in terms of, let's say, development or new in let's say, in the industry. So mainly SMEs, and also that are, of course, under a very strict competition, let's say, under bids. We managed to have more than 20 innovators contracted, and all these innovators developed, as you can see, a lot of tools, and both social, this is important to mention, so we also have social innovations, and definitely, let's say, technological. And innovations coming from these, let's say, companies, but also innovations that we have in Arsinoi as a consortium developed all these years. And my final slides, in order to be on time, here I decided to present a little, let's say, the legacy of Arsinoi, since, as I mentioned in the beginning, we are now running the last 6 months. And what we have done and how we can continue all this work and how we can involve projects like this one that we are here today, to be involved, to be engaged. So what we can do is, first of all, we have developed any community of practice, as you can see, with other Enrich Global. So this is one of the groups, the Climate Change and Sustainability Group, and we're now launching a second one next week. So this is something that will be very helpful. We do have already a lot of members. So this is a community, let's say, of practice. Climate innovation window, you may have heard it before. So here we have a channel, we have a tool to collect all these innovations that we have developed in Arsinoi. This is being updated regularly. This is a fantastic also, you can visit the website outcome. A lot of, as I mentioned before, tools, and we are now working hard on the Arsinoi portfolio, let's say, of recommendations, something that the Commission is expecting from us, as of course from all other projects. So concluding, and I would like here also to, let's say, not to reply, of course, but to add to what Marco was asking before. This is something, and this is how we started innovation, and finishing my presentation. So let's say the innovative approach was that we did not work, let's say, us, the scientists, in our offices, but what we did from day one, from day zero, I can say, is that we involved all these people, all these stakeholders, in all processes through the systems innovation approach. That was important. So we did not, let's say, the consortium did not indicate which solutions are more, let's say, appropriate for the specific regions, but the stakeholders themselves decided through all these pathways that we developed which innovation is more suitable, taking into account, different aspects, different sectors, having also brokerage events and internal and external workshops with companies. There we had a nice, let's say, collaboration with new companies. This is something that we are very happy with. And this is all from my side. I think I'm quite good in time.
Yes.
Sorry, Melissa.
No worries, no worries. We're definitely late, but not because of you. I took more time than I should have. So thanks a lot, Janice, for this really insightful presentation and very exhaustive presentation about what Arsinoi has been doing over these years. It's very interesting. For the participants, just please know that we will share the slides of the speakers. They will be made available on the PCP WISE website. So all the links, solutions that have been presented in the different presentations so far will be available. And of course, the contacts of the speakers as well. If they want to share them on the slides, it will be there. Otherwise, reach out to me. And if they accept, I will put you in touch with them if you are interested. We have 2 more presentations to go. I don't think that we will have the time for the open discussion, unfortunately, on the cross-project synergies. What I suggest is that we go on with the presentation from Katarina on resist, and then we will have one more presentation from Climate Europe 2 by Francisco, and we will stop there. I will collect all the preparatory work and the preparatory thoughts that the speakers have done for the open discussion, and I will summarize that in a write-up news that we post after each webinar of the Webstivals that we organize on the PCP WISE website. And then internally, between ourselves, we can have a follow-up discussion to go further into the details of these synergies. So Katarina, I'm going to share back my slides for you, unless you prefer to share them yourself. So you let me know.
You can share, please.
Perfect. All right.
Thank you.
Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Perfect. The floor is yours.
Yeah, so we can, please. My name is Catarina Petinska Azevedo. I'm representing Innova from Portugal, which is the operational manager of the Resist project that I will be sharing with you. Next one, please. Just the overview for the Resist. So Resist is one of the Horizon Europe project that is funded under the EU Mission for Climate Adaptation. It's a 5-year project, and we are almost halfway through, because it started in January 2023. We have already seen some big projects here today, but ours is really huge as well. As you can see, you have 60 partners right now in the consortium, almost 27 million euros budget. So it is really a big challenge, also just let's say coordination and management of the project. Therefore, we have let's say kind of double coordination. Innova, as I mentioned, is the operational coordinator for the project, while Sinte from Norway is the strategic or like more scientific coordinator. And that works well, because with this size and scope of the project, it has been very helpful for this managing all the work. Overall, Resist aims to strengthen resilience of 12 regions that are climate vulnerable, as most of the regions in Europe right now, and really also help accelerating the transformation and like transition to this resilience on different aspects. We have been, so 12 regions are directly involved in the project, and they are, let's say, labeled or grouped in 4 large-scale demonstrators, as we call them. So like 4 regions are having a bit bigger scope of their activities and the demonstrations they are doing in their territories, while the 8 other regions are what we call twin regions. Next slide, please. In terms of challenges that Resist is addressing, it's with all these 12 regions, it's quite of variety, let's say, in terms of climate challenges, because each of the regions have their own let's say priorities or challenges. So that has been from the start, from the early process of building this consortium collaboration, it was possible for regions to, of course, identify their own priorities. So we have some of them are water related, but not only. We have also a broader scope. We are addressing floods, droughts, heat waves, wildfires as well, which is a problem in some of our regions, as well as soil erosion. And let's say the variety of solutions that are being developed and tested for those different challenges is also very broad. So and it varies from region to region. So it's not a fixed, let's say, set of solutions tested exactly in the same regions. But the topology of solutions is also broad. So we have a lot of them are more like digital and technological solutions, but we also have regions implementing nature-based solutions, or more, let's say, what we call softer solutions related to community engagement, stakeholder engagement, or policy or governance, or even, for example, some of the territories that are fighting wildfires, like innovative land management approaches. You can move on, please, to the next one. I will very briefly mention the let's say the regions. So as we group them initially in our proposal, and that's a structure in the project, is the grouping of one leading region, so like the large-scale demonstration, paired with 2 twin regions. But this framework, it was just to try to help us organize the work, but in fact the collaboration are broader beyond this. But just to show what the original setting, Central Portugal is the large-scale demonstrator that is collaborating or work closely with Extremadura and Vesterålen in Norway. Next one. Then we have next one, please, Melissa. Sorry, because I will try to go fast here. I guess we are behind a bit. Catalonia is another a region that has a big role in the project, and it's grouped with Puglia and Baixo Alentejo. Next, we have Southwest Finland as large-scale demonstrator, collaborating very closely with Normandy and Eastern Macedonia and Thrace. And they have similar challenges, let's say, but not always. And Central Denmark, addressing, for example, floods and soil erosion, working closely with Blekinge and Zemka. So just next one, please. So as I said, this setting was let's say to kind of have a structure and initial, not to lose everyone with 12 regions, it would be could be chaotic at the beginning. But our collaborations go beyond those initial groupings. So in fact, let's say partners also collaborate closely, and regions collaborate between those groupings. And all 12 regions we have now, by now, as I said, we're halfway through the project, and there are good structures to work. What I wanted to stress as well, when I say regions, what it means that, of course, we have, let's say, regional authorities directly part and involved in the project. So that might be also relevant for the procurement aspect that we're addressing here today. But it's more than that, because it has been very much bottom up from the beginning when with the consortium we built, that also contributes to this being a huge consortium. But the regions were really encouraged to bring a representative of the let's say ecosystem, and we are having this quintuple helix approach. So we have not only the regional authorities in the consortium, but we have also representatives from those regions, from academia, from industry. Sometimes it's NGOs or associations that they're working together. So there's this for each region, there's local ecosystem that is involved, but also through the whole project, besides the regional ecosystems, we are having a number of horizontal partners that contribute with other aspects. And what is relevant, as I said earlier, the regions could come up with the needs from the beginning and priorities in terms of climate challenges they are addressing, and all of them are developing or testing some specific solutions for their needs. But also with this large scale and twins, what is quite characteristic, we haven't set everything from the start, and that was during the project, mostly during the second year, that we have been working on the transfer plans. So some of the major solutions that are developed in certain regions are now being transferred. They were only decided during the project which one they really find the most important for them and most useful to transfer to certain twin regions. And these collaborations and those transfers also go beyond the only initial settings of groups of 3. So we have different levels of this, and that's very good learning, because it was really very complex process as well to set this, but a lot of lessons learned which we are willing to share. And transfer plans also, when in those transfers, the regions that are adopting solutions from others are really identifying barriers and challenges. So I think it can be a great learning also to share with other regions and other projects later. But yes, you can move on, please. So there, as I say, the solutions, you see some of them are technological, like we have in certain regions they are working on hydrological and hydraulic modeling, for example, or XR solutions for stakeholder engagement. We have I mentioned like land management for certain territories, in innovative approaches for that, or IoT loggers for groundwater monitoring. So depending in the region, that's different. We have a early warning system and site-specific warning, for example, developed in Catalonia and testing in different municipalities. So depending, there's really a panoply of solutions. I will not go in details of any of them, and especially that some of them are still being developed. As I mentioned, we're halfway through, but you're really, and I encourage you to follow the project, because there will be a lot of insight coming out. There are some solutions that I would, however, mention specifically, because they are kind of transversal. And you can go to the next slide, because that's, for example, the graphical digital twins, which is a solution, let's say, or tool that is being done really for all the 12 regions in RESIS. And this is something that this as a tool is used or meant to be used really also for support decision making and for the simulations and like other modeling that can be embedded in it, but also because it's very visual, the way they are done in RESIS. They're really graphical digital twins. So also the great value for the stakeholder engagement and buy-in from decision makers, but also different stakeholders. So this is something we also doing for that work region. It's something that is also kind of transversal, not as a solution itself for the regions, but can be helpful. And And I will mention this already now because I'm not sure I will be able to stay much longer and we won't have the discussion, is one of our horizontal partners, Kiluvan, is developing repository of climate change adaptation solutions that go beyond resist. So also other projects, and there are already some solutions. It's a prototype version. It's already kind of available online, but it's not finalized yet. It's still work in progress. But eventually, this repository is really meant to and with data links like and metadata data, so it can be very helpful, I think, for different projects and colleagues here. Interesting to see, because it will not only collect the resist solutions, but many others. And besides all what's happening in the regions and in the field as specific implementation and testing of solutions, there's also much more, because it's a huge project. There's all these horizontal activities. What I will maybe just stress here is community of interest, that we're kind of opening up the knowledge sharing, and there are certain online events that we are inviting also other regions. So I think for some of the projects here might be interesting, and we have this approach that all the learnings and materials will be shared. Some of them you can already find on our website. So in fact, I really encourage everyone to follow us on LinkedIn, on social media. Check the Resist website. So that's on the next slide, I believe. There, where you can find really a lot of information, which I will not. I'm not able to go into details in this short presentation right now, but feel free to reach out. And also, maybe we get the chance to meet at any of the events that we are planning still to attend and have representation of Resist at later this year. So I really hope we won't have this discussion today, but I hope there will be chances for cross-fertilization between the projects, sharing some experience and sharing know-how and solutions. We are very much open for that. So feel free to reach out and contact us for more details. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Katarina, for this very precise presentation. And it's so much about the Resist project that it's very difficult to squeeze everything into 10 minutes, but you did a great job at that. Thank you so much.
Huge project, but
yes,
really,
indeed. We will definitely see each other at the EURESFO event, I guess, in June. So we can definitely continue these discussions over there. But as I said, to discuss the cross-project synergies, we will not have the time today, but definitely we will report on what we have been discussing internally into a summary on the website of PCP WISE. The projects are also welcome to share website, and we can share that with the list of participants of today. Thank you for bearing with us. We have one very last but not least presentation about Climate Europe 2 today. And so thank you, Katarina, again so much. I will now invite Francisco to present Climate Europe 2. Francisco, if you are here with us today, please. Oh, I see Paco, actually, not Francisco.
Well, it's basically the same. So Paco is a nickname for Francisco.
Okay, sorry,
it's
I didn't
exactly
know.
the same thing. You get the same product.
Sorry for my ignorance.
No worry, no worries.
Well,
I was just wondering if you prefer to have the presentation now, or I don't mind leaving it for another one of your webinars. So that way it will give you enough time to close things properly and probably say
no, that's fine. We're still 32 people in the webinar. You can go ahead and present. That's perfectly fine. No worries. Thank you.
Okay, thanks a lot, Melissa. So can you go to the next one, please? So Climate Europe 2, I couldn't see it moving yet on screen, so we're still okay, good. So I'm going to present Climate Europe 2, which is it's another Horizon Europe project that is coordinated by, sorry, I got the date wrong. It's coordinated by the Barcelona Supercomputing Center, where I work, and it's a project that is of, I'd say, very different nature compared to the ones that have been presented so far. So in this project, we are trying to support the climate services community in Europe But at the same time, we try to do this to extract recommendations for the standardization of climate services. Thank you. So climate services is one of the elements of the activities performed by the previous project. So these climate services includes the provision of climate information to assist decision-making by any actor that is involved in climate sensitive activities. This service involves engagement mechanisms for accessing the products and the responsiveness of the user needs. And as I said, the project focuses on the climate services aspects, not on the decision itself, which is something that it falls a bit more on the remit of PCP WISE and all the other projects that we are talking about here. The project it started in September 2022, still has a bit more than 1.5 years to go. And it has three main objectives. One of them is the development recommendations for the standardization of climate services, to support the community through a number of activities, and also to increase the uptake of climate services that are equitable and that quality assured. Next one, please. Okay, thanks. So what about standards? So the kind of standards that we are talking about are not conventions. It's not the typical convention that communities agree among themselves. We are talking of standards in the sense of ISO and SEN and their transposition to the national legislation. So standards are specifications, requirements that can be measurable, and also processes and performance conventions that can be agreed among the communities and are actually adopted by legitimate organizations like ISO, SEN, and ASTM. The main challenge that we have in climate services is that while there are conventions and guidelines and even standards for climate mitigation, climate adaptation, even for risk assessment, there are no standards for climate services. So that means that somehow the provision of climate services out there it's a sort of Wild West. It's very difficult to really find out what is the actual quality of the products that people are using. And the projects that have been presented here are full of use cases, case studies, different actors from the public arena and also from the private sector. But there is no way for all those actors to really know and express the quality of their climate services products that they are using in a credible way. And the path forward that we are considering is through the involvement of all the relevant actors, including decision makers, to create a comprehensive set of consensus-based standards. And this is done through an equitable participation. And there is a lot of activities that are taking place in the climate services arena. One of them is the definition of the climate services components that we use to define the activities, to define the way we structure climate services in our discussions with the community. These components include the data that are being used, and that's included in the knowledge systems. But there are many other aspects that we consider, such as, for instance, the ecosystem of actors that are involved in the co-production of climate services, the way the decisions are taken and how this shapes the climate information, and also how this information is delivered and evaluated. Next one, please. Thank you. So as I said, this involves a lot of people. The project is a large project, but we are performing a lot of participatory activities where we define criteria, and from which we, through the leadership of the different partners involved in the work packages in the project, we end up with synthesis reports that are published once a year, from where we extract recommendations that we use to iterate with Sense and Elec, with whom we have a liaison agreement. Sense and Elec has already received from the Commission a request to start the standardization of climate services. So this is a process that has left the research domain, and it's already moving into the practicing side. Those synthesis reports, we publish them with some graphical summaries, like the one that you can see here, which is the synthesis report that was published at the beginning of 2024. Next one, please. And in 2025, just at the beginning of this year, we also published another set of key messages that are somehow minimum requirements that we have identified that all climate services should fulfill. Next one, please. Okay, it doesn't move.
Yeah, sorry, I think I went too far. Is the one about certification and labeling the next one? Okay,
yeah, that's
it should.
the one. Thank
Sorry,
you.
there's a little bit of lag, but it should be coming to
Yeah,
you right
sorry.
now.
So concerning other aspects beyond the standardization, we are also discussing with certifying bodies, with the, for instance, actors like WMO, C3S, and other international key actors are involved. And we are discussing the need for defining a certification process for the auditing of the climate services products, how to label products that are credible and that are actually marketable and that could be considered as trustworthy, and other aspects that are just basic principles of the standardization processes. Next one, please. The kind of activities that we undertake in the project includes Webstivals, which are events that are online, where we invite the community to participate and where we actually give voice to all those that are involved in the development of climate services. And PCP WISE and Protect was very much involved in previous Webstivals. We also have festivals, which are events, similar events. They are not events for showing what Climate Europe 2 is doing or to really show off. It's basically an event to bring the community together and to try to identify what those minimum requirements are. The last festival took place in Venice last year, and the next one is taking place this year, this autumn, in Belgrade, and there will be wide announcements going out there. Next one, I think it's the last one. The other type of activities that we do are activities by invitation only. We try to engage with specific sectors that play a role in defining climate services. These are workshops that are small workshops in which only people from those communities are invited so that we can have a very focused discussion. For instance, the next one is at the end of this month, where we are engaging with representatives from the private sector that are providers of climate services, those vendors that are actually, some of them, participating in this PCP process that you're engaged in. We are having also 3 more workshops this year, one with the climate and health community, another one with the financial and public banking sector, another one with med services. And if any of you has requirements or ideas about additional workshops that could be relevant, sectoral workshops, we are very happy to engage with you and organize them. And I'll leave it there. Thank you very much, Melissa.
Thank you so much, Paco. That was really short, but straight to the point. And well, I know the project very well, but I think it was also very interesting for others who don't know the project by now, though you are already 2 or 3 Webstivals down, and you are doing so many events that I'm sure that everyone here in the room has already heard about Climate Europe 2, but I think it's always important to give voice also to projects who are working on standardization and certification issues. This is a very important aspect of developing climate services. So thanks a lot again for being here today and for presenting your work. Well, definitely, I think you'll see one of our Spanish partners in the upcoming event at the end of April, and we look forward to the big announcement about your conference in Belgrade in September. So thanks a lot. On this, I would like to thank you, the 26 participants who are still with us today. Our apologies for the delay with this presentation, with this webinar, which has been a little bit longer than expected. But I think that giving the floor to all the nice speakers that have presented these so many important projects and are providing so great work that can be valuable to you as SMEs, as innovators, as researchers. I think it's very important that we give the floor to them. And so thanks a lot again to all the speakers. I look forward to continue the discussions with all of you about cross-project synergies. Stay tuned for those who are not the speakers but have been listening to the presentations, because there will be a write-up on the website, as I said, of the PCP WISE project, which I'm going to share with you the website, the link to the website in the chat, so you can stay tuned and look for the news of this write-up, where we will be summarizing our ideas for synergies between our respective projects. On this, I will end it here, and I will, well, thank you again so much, and wish you all a very nice rest of your day and week ahead.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.